Before we begin this story, pause for a moment and subscribe because what you are about to hear reveals a conversation that fans believe quietly changed the direction of one of the most talked about lives in the drama industry, and by the time you reach the end you may understand why a single piece of advice from one actor created a powerful moment of reflection for another. The evening had already settled into a calm rhythm when the moment happened. The city skyline glowed through tall glass windows inside a quiet private lounge where a small group of industry friends had gathered after a long day of filming and meetings. Conversations floated through the room about upcoming projects, travel schedules, and the unpredictable life that comes with fame. Among those sitting near the window was Bai Lu. She leaned back in her chair with a thoughtful expression while listening to the discussions around her. Over the past year, her name had appeared constantly in entertainment headlines. Rumors about relationships, speculation about marriage, and endless fan debates had surrounded her almost everywhere she went. Across the table sat Zeng, who had been quietly observing the conversation with the calm curiosity that many of his friends often noticed about him. Joseph was known for speaking thoughtfully when it mattered, and that evening he sensed something in Bai Lu's expression that suggested she had been carrying a question in her mind for a long time. The conversation slowly shifted as the room grew quieter. Some guests stepped outside for fresh air, while others checked their phones. Soon only a few people remained around the table. Zeng looked toward Bai Lu and asked gently if she had been feeling the pressure that the internet seemed to place on her lately. She laughed softly at first, but the laughter carried a hint of exhaustion. She admitted that sometimes it felt like the world expected her to make life decisions on a schedule created by strangers online. Every interview eventually turned into questions about love, marriage, and when she would settle down. She explained that while she respected the curiosity of fans, the constant pressure sometimes made her wonder whether people cared more about her personal life than the work she loved. Joseph listened quietly. Then he said something that those sitting nearby would later describe as a moment of rare honesty. He told Bai Lu that marriage is not a requirement for happiness. The words were simple, but the sincerity behind them immediately changed the atmosphere of the conversation. Joseph continued speaking calmly. He said that in the entertainment industry, many people feel forced to follow expectations that do not truly belong to them. Fans create timelines. Media outlets create stories. Even well-meaning friends sometimes suggest that happiness must follow a traditional path. But he believed life was far more personal than that. He explained that some people find joy in building families early, while others discover their greatest fulfillment through their passions, friendships, and experiences that unfold naturally over time. He looked directly at Bai Lu and told her she should never feel rushed to choose something as important as marriage simply because the world is asking about it. For a moment, Bai Lu did not respond. She stared out through the window at the glowing skyline, as if considering the weight of his words. The city below moved with its endless energy, yet inside that quiet lounge the moment felt still and reflective. Finally, she smiled. Not the polite smile she often shows during interviews, but a softer expression that suggested she truly appreciated the advice. She admitted that hearing someone say those words out loud felt unexpectedly comforting. For years, she had focused on building her career, developing her craft, and embracing the opportunities that allowed her to grow as an actress. Yet, every success seemed to bring another wave of questions about when she would take the next step in her personal life. Joseph nodded, as if he understood completely. He said that people often forget that happiness cannot be measured by milestones chosen by others. Every individual deserves the freedom to decide what kind of life feels meaningful to them. The conversation continued late into the evening with stories about career challenges, travel experiences, and the strange reality of living under constant public attention. Yet the words Joseph shared remained at the center of the moment. Bai Lu later described the discussion as one of the most honest conversations she had experienced in a long time. News of the exchange did not remain private for long. A friend who had been present mentioned the conversation during a casual interview days later, and soon the story began spreading across entertainment blogs and fan communities. Fans reacted strongly. Many praised Zeng for speaking openly about the pressures celebrities face regarding relationships and marriage. Others admired Bai Lu for listening with such thoughtful sincerity and for being honest about the challenges that come with balancing public expectations and personal choices. The story quickly became a larger conversation about how society views success, happiness, and the idea that everyone must follow the same path. For Bai Lu, the moment seemed to spark a new sense of calm. During her next public appearance, she spoke confidently about focusing on projects that inspire her and living a life guided by curiosity rather than pressure. Zeng also addressed the topic briefly during a later interview. He smiled when the reporter mentioned the conversation and said he simply believed that people deserve the freedom to write their own stories without feeling pushed by outside expectations. The message resonated with millions of viewers. In an industry where headlines often focus on drama and speculation, the quiet honesty of that conversation offered something different. It reminded people that behind every celebrity image there is a human being navigating life decisions, just like anyone else. As the weeks passed, the story continued inspiring discussions across social media platforms, with fans sharing their own thoughts about happiness, independence, and the courage to choose a path that feels authentic. What began as a private conversation between two colleagues had turned into a powerful reminder that life is not a race toward a single destination. And for Bai Lu, the words Zeng shared that evening may have provided exactly the reassurance she needed to move forward with confidence and clarity. If you want to hear what insiders say happened during the next time Zeng and Bai Lu met again at a public event, and why fans believe their conversation may influence how celebrities speak about personal choices in the future, make sure you stay with this channel because the next chapter of this story might surprise you even more. The conversation that night did not end with Zeng's simple advice. After the quiet moment where he told Bai Lu that marriage was not something she should ever feel pressured into, the atmosphere around the table changed in a subtle but powerful way. For a few seconds, Bai Lu simply stared out the window at the glowing skyline, as if replaying his words in her mind. Then she slowly laughed, a soft laugh filled with relief rather than sadness. People sitting nearby later said it was the first time that evening she truly looked relaxed. Zeng noticed the change immediately. He leaned back in his chair and told her something else that surprised everyone listening. He said that sometimes the strongest decision a person can make is choosing their own timeline instead of following the expectations of the world. Bai Lu nodded thoughtfully. She admitted that for years she had focused on building her career and growing as an actress, yet almost every public appearance eventually turned into questions about her personal life. Hearing someone remind her that happiness could take many different forms felt unexpectedly freeing. The group continued talking late into the evening, but that short exchange stayed with Bai Lu long after the conversation ended. According to people close to her, the advice shared that night would later influence how she answered questions during interviews. And when Bai Lu appeared at her next public event just days later, fans immediately noticed something different about her confidence. Some insiders now believe that the quiet words Zeng shared that night may have helped her embrace a new chapter of life defined not by pressure, but by her own choices.